It's commonly known that the lunar cycle has powerful effects on both animals and humans. Ever notice how your pets act differently during a full moon? Your dog howls at the moon, for instance, or your cat runs and hides. It's as if something has gotten into them. Well, the full moon's influence on human behavior has been studied too. Traffic accidents and crime in general increase during a full moon. Studies have even been shown that the moon holds sway over fertility and reproductive rates. And how could I forget about everyone turning into a werewolf during last year's supermoon? You remember that, right? That was crazy. At least that's the plot of Stephen C. Miller's Werewolves. But this year, we're prepared. Sort of. Frank Grillo plays Dr. Wesley Marshall, who, along with his scientist pals, including Lou Diamond Phillips and Katrina Law, have developed something called moon screen. Moon screen. It blocks the moon rays that trigger the transformations. But of course, there's a catch. Why did the supermoon start suddenly turning people into werewolves? No clue. One scientist surmises, however, that it might be something in our food. God, I hope it's not in Christmas tree cakes. I will turn into the biggest, fattest werewolf you've ever seen. Anyway, to avoid turning into a werewolf and to protect yourself from those who do, people have fortified their homes and are bearing arms in order to survive the night. One such family is the widow of Grillo's brother and his young niece, and if you think they're going to make it through the night quietly, you've got another thing coming. A very hairy thing. With big teeth. So it's like The Purge, only with werewolves. Werewolf movies are hard. Good ones don't come along very often, at least not in theaters. And you can count the great ones on one hand. Maybe two. American Werewolf in London, The Howling, The Wolfman, the original, Dog Soldier, Silver Bullet, Late Phases, The Howling 2, The Howling 3, The Howling 4, The Howling 5. And while I wouldn't say that Werewolves is a new classic or anything like that, I had a pretty good time with it. Director Stephen C. Miller is primarily known for doing action and horror. Silent Night and Escape Plan 2, for instance. Here he combines both. In fact, I'd say Werewolves is more of an action movie than a horror movie. However, both the action and the horror feel a little kneecapped by the budget. For instance, the action set pieces look and feel, what's a nice word for small? Compressed. And when you're talking about werewolves, you expect them to do what werewolves do best. Rip people limb from limb, right? Well, aside from a couple of semi-gory moments, we don't get a whole lot of that either. And what should have been a brutal knockdown, drag-out brawl between two werewolves at the end only lasts about 5 seconds. Miller does manage to create some suspense. There's a cool scene in a laboratory in which we discover that the moon screen they've developed needs a much higher SPF, or in this case, MPF. The werewolves themselves look cool. The transformations are CGI, but decent CGI. However, once fully transformed, the werewolves are practical. Alec Gillis, best known for his work on Aliens, The Monster Squad, and Tremors, designed them. It was refreshing to see performers in suits with animatronic heads. It makes the werewolves look and feel substantial, like they're more of a threat, like they're real, as opposed to goopy CGI that looks like something out of a video game. And I'll give Miller and writer Matthew Kennedy props for making the werewolves feel unique, in that some of them retain a little bit of their human personalities. When it comes to the cast, Frank Grillo and Katrina Law are solid, and it's always great to see Lou Diamond Phillips in anything. Other characters don't fare as well, and make some extremely questionable choices. For instance, if the moon is your enemy, why are you blasting huge holes in your ceiling with a shotgun? It makes a particular character who I already didn't feel much for, and I'm supposed to, look really dumb. I know it sounds like I've pointed out more of the movie's flaws than anything else, and it is flawed, but it's flawed in the same way that a lot of B-movies are flawed. The flaws, at least most of them, are easily overlooked because there's a nice fun factor here. They're not making art here. They're making The Purge with werewolves. And though it's a movie I'll probably not revisit anytime soon, I had a good time with it. And I think you will too. Let me know your thoughts on werewolves down in the comments section below. And while you're down there, let me know what your favorite werewolf movie is that's not called An American Werewolf in London or The Howling. If you liked the video, please leave it a thumbs up and share it on social media. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time, peace. A huge thank you to all my patrons and channel members for your generosity and support. Become a patron today and get early access to videos, have a say in what content appears on my channel, join me for monthly live streams, exclusive watch parties, and more. Become a channel member today and get access to exclusive badges and emotes to use when I stream, as well as members-only watch parties. Both those links are in the description. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.